I'm trying to do the thing where Doctor Strange does the, with his. You get the joke. Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness stars Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, Elizabeth Olsen as the Scarlet Witch. You know what? I don't even have to tell you this. You already know this. This is the next highly anticipated MCU movie. I've been looking forward to it for quite a while, especially after the entire series the MCU has been building up to with the Multiverse. We first saw hints of it with, I believe it was Loki, or WandaVision, then with No Way Home, and now we have Doctor Strange 2. And this time around, Doctor Strange is directed by Sam Raimi, the visionary mind behind Spider-Man 1 through 3, the Evil Dead franchise. More recently, Oz the Great and Powerful. But other than that, he's a fantastic director. He has such a distinct visual and tonal flair to all of his work. I was very much looking forward to seeing him take on this sort of character, being how he loves the weird, he loves the macabre. That's the vocab word for the day, macabre. Anything dark, anything mystical. Sam Raimi's your guy, so having him direct Doctor Strange felt like a natural progression, especially since this is the Multiverse of Madness. So with a title like that, you can only imagine how eccentric and how twisted the universe and reality of this film gets to. And I am not going to bury the lead here. Doctor Strange 2 was a film that I greatly enjoyed. From the first 5 minutes, you can tell that this was bringing forth a whole new distinct visual style, unlike anything we've seen in the MCU movies prior. And I've been accused of being an MCU hater. I don't hate the MCU. There's a few movies that I really love. No Way Home was really good. Winter Soldier, Civil War, Ragnarok, Infinity War, for God's sakes. It's just, I feel that about 60% of the movies that they've done kind of start to feel a little bit like the same. It feels like episodes of a TV show and not really a movie, kind of lacking a cinematic quality, if that makes sense. And I don't hate the MCU. I have a stack of comic books over yonder that I've been collecting for years, and it's proof that I haven't spoken to a woman since last week. But I just feel like the movies themselves are kind of starting to feel like more of the same. And Doctor Strange 2 really does a lot to distinguish itself from the rest of the movies. Bird Box Bandersnatch really brings a lot to the role of Doctor Strange. The first movie, he was really good, but you can tell he was limited by what little subject material the script gave him. He has a lot of stuff to work with here, and with a title like Multiverse of Madness, you can tell that there might be different versions of him that show up, and he plays it with such different styles with each one. He really does stand out. Elizabeth Olsen is the true MVP of this movie, if I'm being honest. I loved her in WandaVision. I really liked her here. And you can tell that her experience from the show WandaVision really does influence the decisions she makes here. And watching these two characters go about this quest is really satisfying from an emotional standpoint. For some people who are fans of the character, they might not be totally on board with the direction that they've taken. And that kind of goes with a lot of the characters. There's a lot of choices that the director and the writers make. It might take you a little bit to adjust, but when you factor in the rest of the MCU movies that have come prior, it does make sense when you look at it from that way. And of course, the visuals are absolutely insane. There's some stuff... Oh, did you have something to add? Oh, I'm terribly sorry, dear viewers. It appears I haven't been entirely honest with you. Sorry, sometimes the whole honesty thing kind of slips my mind. You can call me Jeff. Evil Jeff. And this broadcasting YouTube channel has been taken over. What are you doing? You come into this room, you tie me to this chair, you do the movie review for my fans, all 17 of my fans. Let me out of here. This is my channel, this is my life. Let me do the review. Gosh dang it, if I want to use your YouTube channel for my personal gain, I'll use it for my own personal gain. Besides, I think the viewers actually like me more. Now, where was I? Visual. See, you threw me off. I mean, I know you normally do a lot of pauses because you're just really bad at doing this movie review thing. You threw me off. If I'm not mistaken, you were talking about the visual flair, you know, like how it looks. Yes, thank you. Visual style. Thank you, Stoner Jeff. If I had any kind of drug paraphernalia or devil's grass to give you, I would definitely give it to you, bud. Anyway, yeah, the visual style. Sam Raimi is definitely an eye candy director. And I don't mean that in the sense of Michael Bay explosions for the sake of explosions. No, there's actual camera work being used here. And I feel like in a world full of different comic book movies that look the same, he makes every scene worth it. And I'm not just talking about the horror elements, which don't get me wrong, I will get to the horror elements. There are some stuff here that really packs an emotional punch. And unfortunately, I think the script might have been through a few rewrites, and sadly, with most of these movies, they normally do. But a lot of the scenes that might have fallen emotionally flat were really given a dramatic touch-up because of how good the directing is. And now we come to the horror, which is my favorite part, of course, because I'm evil. Hey, what makes you so evil anyway? Because my name is Jeff. Spelled with a G. Mother of God. You really are evil. For the last time, be quiet. I'm filming my review. My freaking glasses that I bought from Dollar Tree are falling off. Evil Dollar Tree. If you don't shut up, I'm gonna subject you to the worst form of torture imaginable. Do your worst. I can take any kind of physical, mental, and spiritual torment you can throw at me. I'm gonna make you rewatch the last season of Game of Thrones. But yes, this movie has horror elements to spare. And I feel that some people are saying you can't bring small children to this. I'm not going to go that far. It's not like a hard R-rated horror movie, but there are some visuals that will definitely frighten the more younger kids. And it's kind of crazy how much Sam Raimi got away with in terms of these horror elements. But you know what? That's great. We need more non-horror movies to be scary to kids. Do you remember the effed up stuff that we used to watch when we were children? Like this guy. Do you remember this guy from Spy Kids 1? 7-year-old Jeff saw that and it scared him shitless. We need more of that. We need visuals that get seared into the kids' brains, because guess what? The world is scary. Everything's falling apart. They need to be scared at a young age, and this movie does that in a way that is great. There are some camera shots that Sam Raimi chooses to frame it, and you have the sound effects going off in a way that's not overbearing. It's the right amount of cheesy horror that feels right out of an Evil Dead movie. Do you remember the Spider-Man 2 hospital scene? You remember that when the tentacles are grabbing all the doctors and throwing them all over the place? The best scene in comic book movie history? Yes. Imagine a whole movie with that tone. That's how cool it is. Without getting too heavy into spoilers again, there is a character in this film, America Chavez, and a lot of comic book fans, hardcore comic book fans, may recognize her from some of the more obscure comics. She is sort of used as more of a plot device and less of a character. If I do have to bring out some negatives, now that we're talking about negatives, I really feel that they probably chopped out a few minutes of her character development. You can definitely tell this movie's only 2 hours, when it could have easily been longer. And don't get me wrong, I love a good 2-hour movie, but I feel like there was like 10 or 15 minutes that was chopped out to speed things along. Like they were like, Sam Raimi, you have 2 hours to tell this story. Let's go. And they cut out a lot of the scenes. And I feel like, unfortunately, her character received a lot of the cuts because they really did introduce her right away. And as the story's going on, you get glimpses of her past, but it really did feel a tad forced. Especially there's a moment at the end that's supposed to be this big triumphant moment. It kind of felt a little bit hollow, unfortunately, because of how rushed her development was. And as previously stated, unfortunately, there were reshoots, and although it wasn't like a butchered mess, overall I did like it. You can definitely feel that there was this rushed pacing throughout. And at the same time, I like that no scene was wasted, and it did keep the heart of Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch's motivations and plots carried throughout. A lot of the scenes you could tell were maybe like 2 seconds were shaved off, and let me get to the heart of the matter. A movie with the title Multiverse of Madness, I feel like this was given the wrong title. With a title like that, you imagine 38 cameos. You're probably imagining Godzilla shows up riding a Harley with King Kong on his back, Walter White's cooking meth, Batman shows up with a Green Lantern ring. I'm going to tell you what I told my girlfriend on our first date. You need to lower your expectations. Again, if they have called it anything other than Multiverse of Madness, the fans' expectations wouldn't have been high. But with these sort of movies, fan expectations and getting overhyped is sadly the nature of the beast. What we get instead of a multiverse crazy adventure romp is much more of a personal story between Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, which I appreciated. And although Sam Raimi was really good at handling the horror and visual elements, one thing that didn't hold up with his style was some of the humor. We all remember the cheesy moments from the original Spider-Man trilogy. They worked for the most part great there. Some of that humor doesn't really translate well in this movie. There was a lot of times where people were laughing in the theater when they weren't supposed to, and when people were feeling emotional when it was supposed to be funny. It was really a weird tonal thing that didn't quite hit the mark that they were going for. Not enough to drag the movie down a lot, but it happens enough for you to notice it, sadly. But those complaints are not enough to stop it from being a really good MCU movie and one of the best looking visual superhero movies I've ever seen. This is a flat out horror movie, something the MCU has always flirted with, but I think for the most part they nailed it. I'm going to give Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness a B. Huh. That wasn't so bad now, was it? Okay, that's more or less how I thought about the movie too. I guess our tastes kind of are the same throughout the universe. Alright, but that being said, can you let me go? The review's done, everything's done with the multiverse. Let me go back to my channel, please. Not quite yet, Boring Jeff. There's still a few more people who want to drop in and give their 2 cents. Right, Stoner Jeff? Other people? Did somebody say multiverse party? Alright. Did someone call for McConaughey, Jeff? Did someone call for 007, Jeff? Shaken, not stirred. Oh, dear God in heaven. For the last time... Oh, well, I wasn't even wearing handcuffs. For the last time, get out of my universe. This is my world. This is my YouTube channel. Go back to whatever hellhole you crawled from, or so help me, I will drag you back there myself. I took karate 9 years ago, and I remember a great deal of it. Okay, fine, we'll go. Jeez, all right, we'll go. I'll leave your crappy dollar store sunglasses, too. Let's go, Stoner Jeff. Ugh, it's time to leave already? I thought there was a post-credit scene or something. That's so much better. Now time for my Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness review. Personally, I thought the movie was... That was the most exhausting review I've ever filmed in my entire life. No, get out of here!